Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I haven't done this video in a while, just life. But what will you bring to the table? Like, I have my Byrna SD XL, yes, the same one that I've been having for years. Um, I had a situation where I was living at, I had a neighbor who had a problem with me asking maybe 4 or 5 days if he can turn down his music in the parking lot because it was going on 1 o'clock on Saturday night. And I basically said, "Hey, you mind just turning down your music, bro?" Asked nicely. So anyway, it goes. Me and this other guy, I've stared him up and down for about 6 months, just really just wondering about him. And so he threw up his arms like, and basically knowing me, I turned down. I saw that. Then I pulled opened my window. I said, "Hey, what's going on, man? We got a problem?" He said, "Yeah. What's the deal? You always giving me problems about my music." I said, "Well, this Saturday night, man, you was blasting your music." He said, "You're the only one that's complaining. Nobody, other neighbors doing it." And basically, long story short, he was saying, mumbling some things under his breath and from his boys. Young kid, 22, got some balls because he got a friend, but he's not stupid enough because he knows my car and he knows what I do and how I train and how I fight. So he's not stupid. So anyway, he's mouthing off something on these breath things. He said, all right, God bless you then. God bless you. Just, you know, nice. And I said, okay, man, if there's a problem, every time you keep blasting, I'm going to call management, then I'm going to call the police. And I told him that point blank, period, because I said everybody lives here. So anyway, in my bag, I have my SDXL, and then I have my Kel-Tec 22, three magazines, 16 per each magazine. Then of course I have my 9mm. Then I have um, my 22 LR rifle and pistol. Then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 less lethal guns. You know, I'm asking this person nicely, like, hey, respect. We all live here. But one thing about people like that is they always think they mad about the world and they think it's your problem to hear their music, or it's their problem to hear their issue, or it's your problem to hear that they not get along with their girlfriend, or they want to smoke weed, black and mild, just doing all stuff that young people say. And then I always get this notion people say, oh, they were young. You were young too. You know what? I was young, didn't give me a license to tell F the world because I'm having a bad life. We all been having bad lives. We've been having bad lives for many years. So anyway, in my mind, I had my 22. That's not a 22 situation because once you shoot that bullet, you're responsible for every bullet that you shoot. But if you stupid enough to just come with this, they may have something more, because the moment someone experiences something, guess what? You don't know what they got, and they can respond. So which one will you have? Good, you can have both, but nobody is Arthur Morgan, and this ain't Red Dead Redemption where you can just have left, right, sideways, and nobody always walking around with conceal on both sides. Just to go to the car, I don't feel like you need to have weapons to the gills, but it may not be a weapon situation because most men, it's always ego. Every situation is always ego. It's never because of just because. It's 9 time you step on my shoes, you disrespecting me. Life is disrespecting me, so you disrespecting me, and because you're telling me no, my mom, dad told me no 10 years ago, and I'm manifesting that, um, years later. I'm the person, I'm not going to back down. I work very hard where I say. When I say I work hard for my money, I work so hard for my money. And I disturb peace in my home. And my kids deserve to be able to go outside and walk in the neighborhood without me hearing, profanity-laced music. And that's the disadvantage of living in an apartment. I wish I could live in a house. I wish I could just pack up and just go to the closest house, and then don't have to deal with anything like that. Because that's really what I want. I want to go back to, but I don't have that type of money. Life, this is not the time. Eventually, I will have the time to go back. My house, if I had my way, I would be in the country, so I can do whatever. But we got to all live together, right? So my thing is also I thought about, taking it in my own hands, because the cops ain't gonna do nothing. You can call the cops gonna come down, they gonna get tired because they don't want to do anything over domestic violence or a situation when there was real killers and people shooting. They gotta protect their lives. So, but of course they gotta respond to any type of call. It may be 15, 20 minutes later, but they gotta respond. So, every situation is not. So, what would you recommend? Just make it, be a coward like a lot of people do, hide behind their windows, call the cops secretly, and hoping that they can do what you too scared to do, or call the cops and you hope they do something for you just to scare them off, and then they eventually stop. Or you take it in your own hands and say, hey, this ain't the place, this not the situation. Granted, it is a situation where you can make it a situation just by your pure threat or you saying something, because people are crazy. You don't know what they have. So you can say, hey, turn it down, we'll get you shot. But doing nothing can get you shot too. Turning a blind eye to get you shot. So a lot of people, when it comes to intimidation, and I've worked in the intimidation business, mental health for a long time now, if they think they can get over, they go and do it. Because if you're not going to oppose them, if you cause any type of threat, people don't want that. That's why when people beat on women's kids, and they scare and please, Johnny, stop. They know they got you, and they can just keep on doing it over and over and over. But the moment say, okay, Johnny, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do this. You touch me, I will put you in court, I will do this, I'll call it this. Granted, it'll be much harder, and really, to be honest, you need money for restraining orders and ex parte, but you have option. Or C, the other option, which is me, you put your hands up and you start making threats, especially when I have someone, I'm going to answer that threat. It could be the most dangerous part of the process, but it can also get them to stop too. So nothing is guaranteed, nothing is safe. Doing nothing ain't going to stop them, but doing something may bring unwanted attention that where you don't need it. So, I thought, I don't, first thing first, I'm not a violent person. Even though I do violent things in my martial arts, I don't live my life violent. I've never been to jail for any type of, or domestic, or ex parte, or restraint. I've never done anything like that towards me or to somebody. So I live a very safe life. But at the same time, I ain't no punk. I'm not Randy Couture, I'm not a UFC, but I ain't exactly just a lightweight either with all the martial arts self-defense training. I train with police department, with the sheriff department, and with SWAT, and private security people every week, 2 times a week. So I ain't necessarily light. So you gotta kind of pick your poison. It's just worth the paperwork. That's really the truth, right? So, all right, guys, have a good one.